Hi, so I'm Kate Cipriani of Kate Cipriani Fine Art, and today I'm going to do a two-part video. One is going to just be this initial rendering of sort of the layout of the painting I'm going to be doing, and then I will do a sped up version of the actual painting because it's very long if we don't. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of sort of just drawing out what it's going to be. Now, this is going to be a marsh scene. I have this reference photo. It might be difficult to see. The point is, though, is that it's in black and white. It's just a value scale, so that I just need it more for composition as opposed to exact details, right? So it's not going to be a exact representation of this picture. It's more of like, I'm using this for the composition, light, shadows, etc. And then I will add, what I want, what I feel fits for what it's, what I want it to look like at the end, the message I'm hoping to send. Okay, so this is a marsh scene, typical of what you would find all the way from, the northeast shore down all the way into Charleston, South Carolina, down to Georgia, the wetlands, if you will. And that's something I do paint these a lot. So let's get started. Okay, so basically, I'm using this, and I'm going to look at scale-wise, kind of how I want this to be. Again, this is just a sort of a map of what I want to do. It's not necessarily exact, right? It doesn't have to be, because I'm not drawing a person, I'm not drawing a dog, I'm not drawing something where the likeness has to be exact. Yes, from a composition perspective, we want it to look good, we want it to look accurate, but it doesn't need, proportionally speaking, it's okay if we're off a little bit. Okay, so here we go. So basically, I'm going to go down to about, a third. If you can kind of look at paintings, in thirds on the paper, that can help with rendering good composition. So I'm going to actually sort of start. I want to focus a lot on the sky here, as the clouds are going to be a big part of it. Another thing is, this is a piece for a specific project for a collaboration I'm doing with a hotel in Atlantic City area, and Surrey Beach House, and I'll link all that in the video. But this is the space. The space on the wall is requiring that it be vertical, being of this orientation as opposed to landscape. Typically, when I do a marsh, I do a landscape. But that's okay, because I have done marshes, that just because if you think of a marsh, they are typically, you're looking at it from a landscape perspective. I have, however, done marshes in this way as commission pieces for customers who the space they want, they want a vertical space. So when I do that, I tend to focus more on the sky and a little less on the land, because I just think that it lends to a better composition. That's just my opinion. It's not based on anything, scientific or, but okay, so I'm gonna kind of draw here our horizon line, just sort of map that in. And, the tree line, as I'm kind of seeing it with a few pieces coming up, is more or less gonna kind of come in here, bring up a few, make it a little more interesting. We don't have to keep it exactly like what it looks like, in the picture. If I want a more interesting tree line, I can do that. I just draw it, and then we come in later with, when we start actually doing the pastel, okay? And then that's that. And we've got back here, we've got some trees in the back. This is obviously going to be and so here, there's still land here, right? And then we've got but these trees are smaller to our eye, right? Because they're in the distance, they're further in the distance, so they're not going to be as developed in terms of, detail, right? Because they're further back. From the atmospheric perspective rule, whatever you want to call it. Again, remember, I'm a self-taught artist, so some of my terminology might not be exact, but it's kind of the idea, it's the concepts, if you will. Atmospheric perspective lets us know that we're further back, we see less detail, it looks less defined, the colors are cooler, they're not going to be as vibrant as what you see up close, okay? And that's an important concept, because if you don't do that, it looks off, because there's no way in nature, if you were looking at a marsh, you're driving down the Jersey Turnpike, or I'm sorry, the Parkway, you're looking at a marsh, what you see in the distance is going to look, those trees are going to look, depending on the season, bluer, cooler greens, not as warm colored browns if it's in the fall or winter and you don't have the leaves. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. All right, so that, we'll keep that there now. And just a general, I know that I'm going to have some clouds happening, and I don't know exactly how I want them. And this will change. This will change as I'm painting, because, sometimes you start painting something and you're like, ooh, I don't really like that. I don't like how that's turning out. So then you go in and change it. And that's what I love about pastel, is it's a forgiving medium. You can go in and change it after the fact. Going right over it on the pastel. There are some limitations. Technically you want to do dark before light. It's hard to go over light pastels with dark, but you have a certain level of forgiveness. Understand that as the clouds come lower to the horizon, they're going to get a little more linear. They're not going to be, because you have to think, these are the clouds that are closest to us. They're the ones that are overhead. They're going to look bigger. And then the ones, as you go recede into the horizon, they're going to get more linear, flatter, because they're further away from us. So you have to kind of imagine the earth as it's going away from you. Those clouds are not going to be the big round ones that you're seeing right above your head. Okay? So this is literally, like I said, just a rendering of a sort of maybe. And then I think, as I come through here, I'm going to decide on where I want my marsh water later. This picture, I don't like how it's off to the side like this. I don't have to keep it like that. I can put water wherever I want to put water. As long as I make it accurate to the reflections in the sky, we're good. So we'll start here and we'll see where we're going. Okay? Thanks.